Let me just quickly make the stream setting changes here. Meanwhile, I see introductions have already started coming in from, I see Srimati has joined us from Chennai, India. Lalita has joined us from Rajasthan. And Elaine here has joined us from Philippines. Please correct me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Pariksha here has joined us from Connecticut, US. Simone from Canada. She is nice to be here with you all. Sheila here has joined us from Tennessee, US. And Obid from Spain. Smita from Philadelphia. Awesome. Keep the introductions coming in, folks. We are just going to start the session right on time in a few minutes. Thank you for joining in early. Meanwhile, you are giving introductions on the chat here. Folks who have joined us live on YouTube, you can also give your introductions on the YouTube live chat box. Folks, we are sorry, apologies. Yeah, folks, we are just starting the free program preview. We just went live on YouTube as well. Folks who are watching us live on YouTube, please do let us know your introductions on the YouTube live chat box. I'm Rasha Khan and I'm your host for today's webinar. I'm joining all the way from Bangalore, India. Would love to know where are you tuning in from. We see a lot of introductions coming in on chat here. I see Jennifer has joined us from California and Loknath has joined us from India. And I see Vamsi on the YouTube live chat box has joined us from Virginia. So thank you so much. Let's quickly go through the ground rules here before we start the session. Meanwhile, please keep the introductions coming in. So if you have any question for our speaker, you can put on your questions in the Q&A box. And we will try to address all of your queries as much as possible. Only thing is just keep it related to AIML, which is today's topic, and also any question about the UT AIML Bootcamp program you might have. Also, if you actually end up putting your query in the chat box, there's a huge possibility we might miss it because the speaker tends to basically take up questions when they get the time. And if not, we basically take it towards the end of the session. There is a special time duration denoted for that. And the session is being recorded. So in case you want to go through the recording of the session once again, in case you have missed anything, also, you can expect a follow-up email from us post-webinar with the recording link and also the webinar certificate. Now for the webinar certificate, that is for attending this webinar, not the course certificate. For that, you will have to request a proof of attendance for this webinar by entering your name in the post-webinar survey. So the post-webinar survey is by Zoom, where we are conducting the session right now. And it will just pop up immediately once this session is over. So this session is of 60 minutes duration. And it basically get a pop-up by Zoom webinar. And that will be a post-webinar survey where it will ask you to put down your full name, which you would want to see in the webinar certificate of this particular webinar. And also, if any questions about the certificate or the recording link, please don't worry. I'll address it once more towards the end of the session. So thank you so much. I see a lot more introductions coming in on the YouTube live chat box and Zoom chat box as well. Thank you so much for introductions, folks. Please keep them coming. I know a lot of you folks have just joined and we're just starting the session here. And this program is powered by Simplylearn, world's #1 online bootcamp. We are very proud that we have been in the digital skill space for almost over a decade. And we have transformed over 5 lakh plus careers and in over 150 plus countries, and we have 800 plus qualified trainers. We have categories of courses ranging from AIML, which we'll be talking about today, the UT AIML Bootcamp, data science, business analytics, cybersecurity, cloud computing, and many more. Also, let's quickly go through the agenda of today's session. So we'll be starting with getting to know a little bit about you, how we can help you out in your AIML career better. And we'll be talking about AIML careers in 2024 and what's a UT Bootcamp. Basically, the program we should be talking about today, the UT AIML Bootcamp. And we'll be giving you a very detailed overview of the program. And it will involve basically the projects you'll be covering, other tools you'll be covering, how does the learning environment looks like, and any questions you might have about the program as well. We'll be taking those questions from you. And then based on basically After that, we will be taking you through the learner outcomes of the program. And also, based on your interest towards enrollment of the program, we'll be taking you through the enrollment steps of the program, which is very quick and easy. Also, as I mentioned earlier, folks who have just joined us here, that there'll be a special duration for the Q&A part. In case you have any questions for our speaker, please go and put down your query in the Q&A box. Only thing, please keep in mind this webinar is about AIML. So if you have any particular question about AIML, transition to a career in AIML, or you're trying to pursue a career in AIML, or basically want to advance in that career, and how this program basically can help you as well. If you have any questions about the program, please feel free to add those questions in the Q&A box. Whenever the speaker gets time, they will try to actively answer your question, but we have a special duration for the Q&A part towards the end. So please don't worry, have some patience in case your question is not answered. We'll definitely address all of your queries here. So thank you so much once again. I see introductions are still coming in on the YouTube live chat box and the Zoom chat here as well. As I mentioned that let's start with getting to know a little bit about you. So let's start with a quick poll here to see how many years experience do you currently have. Now, when I'm talking about experience here, I'm talking about work experience. So you can see 4 quick options here. Folks who have joined us live on YouTube, you can put on these options as 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll just read out those options for you. So the first option here is currently studying. Second option here is 0 to 3 years of experience. Third option here is 3 to 5 years. And the last one is more than 5 years. So folks on YouTube can just type in options 1, 2, 3, 4. Folks here on Zoom can basically just quickly go and vote for this poll here. As I was speaking, I see a lot of you actually have already started voting for this poll here. So thank you so much. This is a very interesting thing that we usually get to folks from different set of experiences, and it's very interesting to have such a diverse experienced crowd. So we will get to know in few seconds what kind of experience the crowd has. And also I see responses on the YouTube live chat box also coming in. That's great. I see Aditya says 2 years. And Shivam says first option, currently studying. And Drex says I'm from Kenya and has 0 to 3 years of experience. I see a lot of you folks have joined us from Nepal, Ethiopia, on the YouTube live chat box. Welcome once again, everyone. I think most of you have already responded for the poll here, but I think I'll just give 5 seconds more for a few of the folks who are still voting for this poll. So a lot of new folks I see still joining in. We're just getting started. So we're just doing a quick poll here to understand how many years of experience do you currently have. This poll also helps our speaker to tailor his responses according to the crowd who has joined us here. So that also will be helpful for us. So last 5 seconds, folks, how many years of experience do you currently have? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me go and end the poll here and also share the results with you folks. Let's see, what have you voted for? So 45% of you have voted for more than 5 years of experience. Interesting. 32% of you have voted for currently studying. 13% of you have voted for 0 to 3 years, and 11% of you have voted for 3 to 5 years. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. We can see a very diverse crowd in terms of experience and also folks who are currently studying as well. Thank you so much for letting us know that. And moving on to our speaker introduction here, would like to welcome Armando Galeana here as the speaker for this program preview of UTDLS AIML Bootcamp. Just to give a little bit introduction about Armando here. Armando has over a decade of expertise in cloud platform engineering, data analysis, AI, and data science. And as the director of learning and development at Digital Ethos Academy, he has pioneered ethical AI and data science training programs. He is also the founder and CEO of Uburu Technologies, and Armando has basically driven transformative digital strategies using avant-garde technologies here as well. His tenure as the head of data science at Dell Technologies saw him excel in AI-infused solutions that boosted service sales and he's also a seasoned trainer with Simplylearn and other training organizations. And he has basically delivered and shipped courses in AI, data science, Python programming, cloud architectures, and agile methodologies. And basically, he will be taking us to the program preview also of the UT AIML Bootcamp. So once again, welcome, Armando. A very good morning to you. And it's always a pleasure hosting you. I think a crowd would also love to know a little bit from your end as well as a part of the introduction.
Thank you very much, Rasha. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes. Would love to know from the crowd as well. Is he loud and clear to you folks?
Yes, I want to make sure my voice is coming loud and clear. Thank you very much. I'm very excited of being here, Raja. Thank you very much for inviting me. And hopefully you'll find these webinar beneficial. Please keep your questions coming. And something that I would like to tell you is that I was not born like into data science. I was more in the business side of the house in previous organizations I worked with, more like in project management, business development. And I made the transition to data science. So it is feasible because a lot of people ask, okay, can I make the transition? I'm in sales or I am in marketing or I'm in HR. Can I make the transition? And the straightforward answer is yes, you can make the transition. I made a transition and now I do consulting in artificial intelligence. I implement artificial intelligence solution in my organizations. And at least in my case, I'm specialized in ethical AI, which, you know, there will be regulations coming forward this year in AI safety and transparency. So I'm very excited having you here. And please keep your questions coming. Thank you very much, Roshan.
Thank you so much, Armando. Welcome once again. I think let's start with talking about the first agenda of today's session about careers in AI and machine learning in 2024. So let's start with talking about the hottest skills which will be in demand in the EML space for 2024. We can see so many skills here. Maybe you can give us some overview of these skills, especially for people who do not have much idea about EML field in general as well.
Sure, absolutely. So first, it's important to lay the land to make sure that we understand why there is so much fuss about artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, and we are getting more data than any time in the history of humankind. I mean, we're really getting a lot of data, way more data than our ability to process data. So organizations, that's the reason why, it's not like if you go to LinkedIn and look for data science roles, machine learning engineer roles, artificial intelligence, you'll see there are thousands or tens of thousands of open roles, and it's increasing. Artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning, 10 years ago was where roles are only fit for like big companies like the Apples and the Amazons and the Microsofts. But now almost every organization that handles data is looking for talent that can help drive insights from that data, change behavior, boost their performance projects. And that's the reason why we're getting so much demand for artificial intelligence, data science, and machine learning. Now, some of the skills that are required or that have been growing past year and will be in the rise this year are things like, well, I mean, we have heard about ChatGPT, right? Bard. I mean, who hasn't heard about ChatGPT? Who hasn't heard about Bard, about Llama, all these large language models? Who hasn't heard about Midjourney or DALL-E or Whisper or Pika? Now we see the boom in all these generative models so we can create content. However, we need to know how to use it and how to monetize them. So that's the reason it's not only important for us to know how to use those tools, but also to understand the architectures behind those tools and how to take full advantage of them. And having a little bit of technical understanding how they work will definitely boost the way that you use them, not only to make your processes more efficient, but also to help you monetize them. We have some large language models examples like ChatGPT and Bard, which, by the way, they are not new. There are large language models like BERT and pre-trained models that you could actually deploy in your computers. Some organizations, they don't want to use ChatGPT or Bard because they don't want to share their information, but they can be deployed in their own environment with pre-trained models. So organizations now are very excited about what large language models can do. It is important to know what they can do. It's important to know how to ask them the right questions, and that's the reason why you have prompt engineering. If you ask the right questions and you determine the right context, you can get amazing results. Like, can really speed up the process of learning, the process of accomplishing something in the work. And I'll give you an example. I mean, I use a lot of prompt engineering, let's say, for coding. I look at Bard or ChatGPT. I need to develop an endpoint or to create a model. Or I'm not sure what would be the best way to compare models. So I can just go back to ChatGPT and then ask the right question. They'll give me the code, and as a matter of fact, they give me the explanation of the code. So that can save you like a lot of time. So if you mix when you might be learning in these boot camps with understanding what large language models can do, generative AI can do, that can be definitely a booster in your career, your performance. There are also some needs of having AI consulting in artificial intelligence. You know, there's a fuss about artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence is not as simple as just rolling out a model. You need to make sure that you prove a return on investment, because you know there will be resources. You'll have to maintain the model. You need to embed it into your platforms, embed it into a dashboard, embed it into an application. So what's the best way to embed that model? What metrics are you going to use to make sure that you can yield a return on investment? Also, what would be the best possible ways to leverage an artificial intelligence to accomplish something specific? So for that, we need to understand an overall AI strategy, resources needed, return on investment, leading to things like causal inference. We want to know what's causing things. We want to know what are the causes to given effects, and what better way than doing that with data, to have the mathematical evidence to say, hey, something, this is what's driving your sales, or this is what's driving customer satisfaction, right? Or this is why we know that in this specific X-ray, we're identifying a disease or cancer or something. This is the reason why. So you want to make sure you have some causal inference about the circumstances that we face every day. And of course, you will need some technical knowledge to drive insights, to train models, and that's the reason why deep learning has been huge. Deep learning has helping us with computer vision, for example, with voice recognition, translation services, even large language models. They are founded on deep learning. So by understanding how deep learning works, how to do data engineering to pre-process data, and use big data technologies to harvest a lot of data, you can have the foundation to actually boost your career in artificial intelligence. Which, by the way, you can go different paths. It's a very rich field in which you can choose to do like a lot of different things, from being extremely technical and put together architectures, like deep learning architectures, to maybe train some generative AI models, or more on the business side to understand AI strategy, to figure out, as an AI product manager, what be the requirements, both technical and non-technical requirements, of functional, non-functional requirements that you might need to deploy an AI product. So these are the hottest skills that you will be finding in 2024, and not only in 2024, but in years to come. So my point is, you don't have to develop like all these skills in like 3 months, because otherwise in 2025 there'll be other skills. So all these skills have been on the rise, especially generative AI and large language models. So just keep your eyes open, because you will see this coming. Rasha,
Thank you
back
so
to you.
much, Armando, for thank you so much, Armando, for giving us an overview of these skills here, which will be in demand in AI/ML. Now that we have talked about the skills, how can we miss talking about the career paths, which basically will arise from these skills, these many skills here. So maybe you can give us an overview of these career paths in the AI/ML space, which will be in demand, not only 2024, but in the future as well.
Sure, absolutely. If you look back, I don't know, like 5 or 6 years ago, pretty much the only path was like data science, right? Pretty much, or data engineering. Data scientist is a data scientist. As a data scientist, what you do is, I mean, you're actually a scientist. you capture data or observations, you elaborate your hypotheses to find patterns and explain behaviors, and then you test them through models using, as a matter of fact, machine learning. But artificial intelligence takes part of data science. In data science, again, you build models, you can make predictions, you can model behavior, but then what happens to that model? And that's the reason why we have machine learning engineers. So machine learning engineers, they take the model, they deploy it in a production environment. They set the infrastructure, the architecture can be on-prem or on the cloud, so that models can be embedded into applications. But then, if let's say that you say, well, I like to be a data scientist, I feel more compelled being a machine learning engineer to embed models into applications, not necessarily training the model, but actually rolling out the model into a production and monitoring the model. But you may say, well, you know something, I would like to look at a bigger picture. I would like to understand more use cases about artificial intelligence. I would like to figure out what may be the potential consequences of artificial intelligence in society or in a specific organization. I would like to explore different architectures to build more robust models. Then you can get into AI research or being an AI developer or even an AI product manager. And because we know that all these relies on data, you can also go to the path of being a data engineer. Data engineer is not only managing SQL databases, it implies managing data warehouses, scraping the web, connecting to APIs, for example, let's say Twitter or LinkedIn. And by the way, you can also have a combination of all of these, right? If you want to have a more holistic profile. But what I'm trying to say here is that the opportunities that you will have moving forward are huge. There's also other roles on the rise, like AI ethicists, looking for AI safety and transparency. So the amount of roles that are arising out of the advent of all these data and digital technologies is increasing. So even the fact that right now we see these career paths, you will see that in upcoming years, there will be even more roles that will be created, because a lot of these roles are completely new. You would not be hearing about like machine learning operations engineer or machine learning engineer like 7 years ago or even 6 years ago. This is actually kind of new, and you will see even more roles on the rise, but all of them have pretty much the same platform: understanding data, creating models, figuring out how to make predictions, and figuring out how those predictions can affect an organization or society or humanity. Okay? So again, just keep your eyes open, because these will continue to evolve.
Thank you so much, Armando, for shedding some light on these AI/ML career paths. We have gotten a very relevant question for this slide. If we can go to the Q&A box, if we can take up this question. This is by Robert Brooks here. Says that I want to know more about the data scientist role. What is the difference between this role and AI engineer?
So there's a difference. So a data scientist pretty much looks at the data. It's like it's actually a scientist. Okay. So as a scientist, you take observations and you will try to find patterns that leads to how that data behaves. And you create a model. But that model doesn't mean that you will be thinking about an application to embed that model. So let me give an example. Let's say that you have fintech information. In that fintech information, you want to know what drives customers to request a loan and pay it or not. And you can have a model for that. That's it, the role of the scientist. And you will prove these are the reasons why someone will pay or not pay or request a loan or not. That's it. But as an AI engineer, you'll figure out how to create a solution that will use that model that can be put in front of a customer. So maybe as an AI engineer, you define all the requirements to figure out, okay, if we have an interface that requests all this information, we can take this model to approve a loan. So that's the difference between an AI engineer and a data scientist. A data scientist models, explains hidden patterns in data or patterns in your observations, and an AI engineer figures out how to replicate human intelligence in the form of a product or in the form of an interface. So that's kind of difference between a data scientist and an AI engineer. An AI engineer also has a little bit more knowledge about infrastructure and deployment that a data scientist does not necessarily have. So that's the difference.
Thank you so much for answering that, Armando. Robert Brooks, please do let us know if that answers your question. Moving on to the next slide here. So we have talked about the skills here. We've talked about the career paths which you can take up in AML space. Uh, we basically have talked about how exactly are these career paths different from each other as well, and how these skills will be in demand in 2024 and beyond as well. So we would love to know what exactly is stopping you from becoming an AIML practitioner here. So what is the challenge you're facing when it comes to pursuing a career in AI/ML? So you can see a quick poll launched. This is a multiple choice question. So you can select multiple options because there can be multiple challenges or concerns you might be facing when it comes to pursuing a career in AI/ML or gaining AI/ML expertise. So I'll give a few seconds for you folks to basically share across your challenges here. And I'll also read out these options for you folks who have joined us live on YouTube here as well. So the first option here is I can't find a program with a fully comprehensive curriculum. Second one here is I wouldn't get the practical exposure I need to become job ready. Third one here is I find it difficult to learn from pre-recorded videos. And the last one, my work schedule won't allow me enough time for learning. So as I was speaking, I see a lot of you folks have already started sharing responses for the poll here. But I think let's give 10 seconds more for the poll here for a few of the folks who are still thinking about it. Also, if these four options do not cover the challenges you might be facing, so please feel free to put down your query in the Q&A box. If you have any queries, any challenges you are facing when it comes to pursuing a career in AI/ML, you can let us know in the Q&A box. You can raise a query there for our speaker. Awesome. Last 5 seconds, folks, because I see you are still voting. A few of you are still voting for it. And folks who have joined us live on YouTube, on the YouTube chat box, you can let us know what are the challenges you're facing from the options you see here. By 1, 2, 3, 4 options or all of the above, because I see Amin has said all of the above here. So for the challenges he is facing. And I see Shivam says the third option, I find it difficult to learn from pre-recorded videos. Fair enough. Awesome. I think last 5 seconds, folks, for the poll here, we'll be closing it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll. Thank you so much for sharing your responses for the poll here, and also share the results with you folks here. Let's see what have you voted for. What's stopping you from becoming an AIML practitioner? So we have gotten 44% of the votes for I can't find a program with a fully comprehensive curriculum. And we have gotten 53% of the votes for I wouldn't get the practical exposure I need to become job ready. And 38% of votes for my work schedule won't allow me enough time for learning. And 33% votes for I find it difficult to learn from pre-recorded videos. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. That definitely gives us an understanding what are the challenges you're facing when it comes to pursuing an AML career. And as I mentioned earlier, if you have any other challenges, you can obviously let us know in the Q&A box. Now, let me just quickly introduce you to the UT Dallas AIML Bootcamp program here by the University of Texas, Dallas. It comes with a comprehensive curriculum and industry-aligned learning path. You get access to hands-on labs and projects, which we'll be talking much more detail in the upcoming slides. What are exactly these projects, how exactly these projects help you in building a portfolio which will help you basically land a job in AIML, the job you are basically aiming for. And also you have online live virtual classrooms where you get to interact with the instructor. So these are not just pre-recorded videos. You actually get to access the instructor and also learn from them live, which our speaker Armando will be showing you live how exactly the learning environment of this program looks like, how exactly once you take up the program, what happens in the learning environment of the program. So we'll be talking about much more in detail about that. And also the learning format is basically online live, and the program duration for this one is 6 months duration. And I saw a lot of you had more than 5 years experience, folks who have joined us when we did that experience poll. And obviously another few of you also are experienced. This program basically is very flexible for a working professional as well. You can just complete it by giving 10 to 15 hours per week, also keeping in mind for someone who's also studying as well, pursuing something else as well. So let's talk about the UT Dallas advantage here. So the University of Texas at Dallas is a renowned institution with a rich history of academic excellence. It is home to distinguished faculty members and researchers, fostering an environment of innovation and learning. It has been consistently recognized as a top-tier research university, providing students with access to cutting-edge technology, knowledge, and resources. And having a UT Dallas basically on your CV is a highly respected and acknowledged globally, opening doors to diverse career opportunities and networks. So that was about the utilist advantage here. Now, also let's talk about the program here. So I think a few of you have asked, like, am I eligible for taking up this program? Am I eligible for basically taking up this program and also pursuing this career paths? So let's talk about that. Let's clear that up. So here you need to have a prior experience in a knowledge of mathematics and programming, and also a high school diploma or equivalent, and at least you need to be 18 years of age here. You need to basically have 2 or more years of work experience. That is preferred. That is preferred if you're taking up the program. And now I'm pretty sure you have a question that how much knowledge do I need to have about mathematics and programming? That is something I think Armando maybe can let them know. I'm pretty sure they have this question in mind, ki how much knowledge of mathematics and programming I need to have in order to take up the program.
Sure. So, so a couple of things. So you don't need to memorize formulas, if that's the question. If you say, okay, so I want to memorize the formula of how to find the eigenvalues and eigenvectors. You don't. Do I need to know the formula of the base theorem? No, you don't need to memorize formulas, but you need to understand the intuition behind some important concepts of statistics, like what is a test statistic, what is a p-value. You will need to understand the concept behind a matrix, between matrix multiplication, because that is what the computers will do for you. Okay, you will not necessarily do it manually. I mean, unless you get into AI research and you want to create like new models, new algorithms, then you might want to get deeper into math. However, most of us, we need to understand the intuition behind it, because every machine learning algorithm will have a different mathematical principle on the back end and will make some assumptions about your data. So you need to understand what those assumptions, if data is normally distributed or not, if it's skewed or not, and then based on that you can actually start applying some different algorithms. So you need to understand some concepts, basic concepts of probability and statistics. Again, what's an F score, what is a Gaussian distribution, what is sampling, what is an error sampling, what are p-values. You need to understand the concept of a matrix, of a vector multiplication. So those are the kind of concepts you need. Again, you don't need to memorize formulas, but you will need to understand the intuition behind some of those mathematical concepts. And I would say that maybe high school mathematics or early semesters in the career mathematics and statistics, that's the level of math and statistics that you might need.
Thank you so much for answering that. I hope that basically clears your query about how much knowledge of mathematics and programming is required to join up this program. And also, let's move on to the next slide here. On the YouTube Live chat box, I see John has basically if there's a payment plan available, if it can be paid monthly. I'll be talking more about that in upcoming slide, but we do have financing options available for this program. Let's start with talking about how this program prepares you. And we'll be talking about how this program builds your AI/ML skills step by step, which Armando will be taking us through.
Okay, so I was answering one of the questions here. about how to apply these into cybersecurity. So sorry about that. Okay, so this is how the overall program looks like. First, you will have an overall orientation session. That orientation session, it's about how to navigate the platform, to get to how will be the communication with your professor, with instructor, how you'll be submitting your project. So this is like a high-level orientation so that you get familiar with the platform and with the overall program. That's still quite fast. Then will be an introduction to artificial intelligence. We see that there's a lot of terminology: artificial intelligence, data science, data engineering, machine learning, deep learning. So in that first step, in that first part, introduction to artificial intelligence, we will be discussing the differences between all those, between the difference artificial intelligence and deep learning and machine learning and data science, and the overall process in a project. Like, what does it imply? Use cases for artificial intelligence, how projects are generally structured. Then we get into the technicalities with applied data science with Python. In applied data science with Python, that's when we start covering how we apply some statistical methods using Python so that we can start finding patterns in data, so that we can start doing hypothesis testing. We can start finding relationships. We can start finding distributions. We understand how to make inferences out of data so that you can provide valuable insights. And then we get into machine learning. Let's create models. Now that we find some insights, now that we are able to understand if data has good quality or not, let's make sure that we train some algorithms so that we can produce models that can help us whether explain data or make predictions. Now, afterwards, we get into a subset of machine learning, which is deep learning. Deep learning helps also to find patterns in data that is more complex. So when we cover data science with Python, machine learning with Python, we will take a dive into finding patterns in structured data, like rows and columns, okay, like tables, like an Excel file, or a SQL table, or a Teradata table. However, nowadays, most data is unstructured. You have text, you have audio, you have images, you have video. So the question is, how can I derive patterns out of unstructured data? So we need more complex algorithms, and that's when we dive into deep learning. Now, deep learning, there are different platforms you can have, like PyTorch and Keras and TensorFlow. Keras and TensorFlow are more widely used in industry. So we'll take a dive into deep learning with Keras, architectures like convolutional neural networks for image recognition, recurrent neural networks for voice and text, a little bit of generative adversarial networks for generative AI, and deep neural networks for more complex structured data. And then we'll take a dive into the basics of what is generative AI, so a little bit of a prompt engineer, how to answer questions, and learn about some large language models, how they work, like ChatGPT. And finally, and very important, you will get a couple of Capstone projects that are based on industry scenarios. Those Capstone projects you can use to create a portfolio, which is a huge advantage. Different from if you are new to, let's say, medicine. Let's say you grad as a doctor, and you need a portfolio saying, well, this is how many people I have practice surgery on. It's not that easy, right? Or an architect. However, as a data scientist or machine learning engineer or AI engineer, you can actually create your portfolios with all the data you have available, including with your Capstone projects. That can be included as part of your portfolio so that you can showcase your abilities, okay? Which is a huge advantage. And then you have some electives topics that you can choose from. You can take all of them, which you can take a dive into machine vision, natural language processing, reinforcement learning, which makes this program like very, very, very comprehensive.
Thank you so much, Armando, for giving us an overview of these steps here, how this program builds this step by step. And I think you've already mentioned about the electives here. So electives here come as a part of the program, but they're optional. It is up to you if you want to take it up. We do not charge anything extra for them. Moving on, the tools and the platforms you'll be learning in this program. So I think you did mention like in the steps it involved learning a few tools. I think instead of covering each tool here, maybe how exactly the tools and the platforms are covered in this program will definitely give us an overview of how the workings are.
So, as mentioned earlier, something that you will need to know is programming. Okay, so programming is a must. I mean, normally when it comes to the data science artificial intelligence, the two main programming languages are R and Python. R is not widely used in industry, more so like Python, because Python is very versatile. You can do from artificial intelligence to automate Excel sheets to create a web platform, a web application, gaming. So that's the reason why Python is more widely used in industry. So you will learn Python geared towards data science and artificial intelligence. As a data scientist, you want to make sure that you have a strong narrative about what your data is doing, how this is affecting your organization, and how you're making your predictions. So you have a strong narrative. This is where my data is coming from. This is what it means. This is the data I have. And for that, to uh, you need to make sure that you can translate your words into images. That includes graphs and visualizations and dashboards, and that's the reason we'll come Matplotlib. Django or Flask are web application frameworks that you can use to deploy your models. Whereas you can use OpenCV, that is Open Computer Vision, precisely to make predictions on computer vision. So let's say you have with a video, and you want to identify faces, or you want to find a pet, or you want to find an object. And if you want to create something from scratch, we'll cover Keras and TensorFlow, which are frameworks for deep learning. Whereas sklearn, that was in the bottom right, is one of the, if not the main library for machine learning. So these are some of the tools that you will be learning along the way. But what it makes machine learning very exciting is the fact that you'll be combining all of them. So we'll use Python to pretty much to code. You'll use NLTK for natural language processing, scikit-learn for machine learning. You'll use Matplotlib for visualization, same as Seaborn and Bokeh and other libraries. And then, of course, using deep learning libraries. So these are some of the platforms that you will learn. Some of them. We'll be including more as well.
That sounds interesting. Moving on to the next slide here, the Capstone projects. The Capstone projects and the industry-based projects they'll be getting to work on through this program here. So first of all, what is a Capstone project and how does having a Capstone project and other projects which this program covers, how does it help for someone who completely comes from a different category of experience? As we can see from the questions in the Q&A box as well, right? People are here to basically upskill themselves. They don't just want to be there, where they are right now. They actually want to move forward with the technologies which are coming. So what would you say in terms of how exactly important are these projects for students here?
Absolutely. So as mentioned earlier, you will need a portfolio. You want to showcase your abilities. You want to create a portfolio in GitHub that includes your projects and your code. Because most recruiters, as a matter of fact, as a hiring manager, what I do is if I see that someone wants a data science role, if they don't have a GitHub repository, personally, I don't even look at the resume. But when they have a GitHub repository, I look at the resume and then I go to the GitHub repository and look to how they code, how they document, how clean their code is, what's their thought process behind a problem resolution. So Capstone projects will give you that guidance to have a very nicely structured project that you can showcase, that you can put together in a GitHub repository, and that'll be part of your portfolio. So having Capstone projects that are related to real industry scenarios can open up opportunities for recruiters, hiring managers, or maybe collaborators that look at your portfolio. They like how you code, what you do, and maybe they get in touch with you. It has happened before, and it will continue to happen in the future.
Thank you so much. Also, we have industry-aligned projects for your portfolio. I think someone has asked how many labs and projects, so I'm just sharing that here. to answer your question. So human resources, e-commerce, automobile, food service, healthcare being one of the few industry aligned projects we cover, and there are many more projects we cover through this program here, which helps you build that portfolio once you're getting out there and trying to basically land a job here in AIML. Also, now we'll be going to the learning environment of the program. How exactly the learning environment looks like, what exactly happens once you take up the program, what exactly you get access to, how do the tests and assessments look like, what is the process, how do you basically see the live classes, are these only pre-recorded videos or do you actually get to interact with the instructor? So we will be showing you that. So Armando, over to you. You can share your screen and I'll stop sharing my screen for that.
Okay, so let me share my screen so you can see the overall platform.
Sure. Also, folks, our speaker Armando has been very actively answering your questions in the Q&A box. So please do go and check it out. And if you have any follow-up questions or replies for him, please do let us know. So we are doing that very actively in the Q&A box. So, yeah.
Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's visible. Please let us know, folks, on the chat box if it's visible
Okay,
to
good.
you.
So excellent. So this is pretty much how the interface looks like. So you see Dallas, the Machine Learning Bootcamp. You get into the program, and you'll see first that the interface is very intuitive. The very beginning and top, it says how you're doing your progress in terms of the classes you've taken and what you need to unlock your certificate. Then you have three different tabs for your courses, your electives, and your certification. The courses, some of them, they are self-learning, some of them are assisted and live classes, and you will see the progress. So you have here first your math and statistics, and pretty much the format is the same for all of them. When you click on them, then you'll get self-study videos. So you have self-learning, you have your outline on the right with all the different topics to be covered. You can access your live classes. If you are enrolled in the program and there are live classes coming, you can link it here and get into live classes. You'll have your assessment. Your assessments, they change depending on the class. So here's just an assessment. This is just questions and answers. You have reference material that includes these ebooks or the presentations that will be shown in the live classes. So this is one example, but if you go to other courses like, let's go to core to apply data science with Python, and maybe that way you can see sort of what it will be covering. Besides finding what I've shown you before on self-learning, you can see on the left, you can see I'm showing the right, you can see the outline, like the introduction to data science, a little bit of data science, the applied data science use cases. You'll see libraries like NumPy. Okay, you'll cover some concepts of linear algebra. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, you need to know algebra like matrices and vectors and multiplications, right? Matrices, statistics, as I mentioned earlier, look like the types of statistics, descriptive statistics, predictive statistics, and so forth. Measures of central tendency like mean, median, mode, distributions, a little bit of probability, like again these different types of distributions, central limit theorem, advanced statistics like hypothesis testing, margin error. I mean, pretty much what I just mentioned, right? Test statistics, how to make interpretation of them, finding correlations. And then you'll see that in the assessment, besides having your quiz, you'll have projects. Now, the projects are industry-based, and most of them are using real data. And this is something you can also use for your portfolio. You need to complete only one project to pass the module, but I mean, you can actually complete both of them and add in your portfolio. Besides that, you have not only your reference book, but you have your code and you have data sets for you to practice. And of course, some additional projects, really, really cool. Know that so you may say, I don't want to install anything on my computer. I want to code. So Simplylearn provides um, a lab, a virtual lab that you can use to code. Okay, and this lab is just a virtual machine that has been set up for you. Which, by the way, this is NAFUT, and work here, but it will work for you where you can actually do coding if you don't want to get anything installed on your computer. And that's pretty much how all the different courses look like. And then you have your electives that you can take. You can take, by the way, all the electives. It's really up to you, that have a very similar format. So, and finally, your certification unlocked once you have met all the criteria. So if you see the interface is quite intuitive, you can download the material. You have code. You have projects for your portfolios. Um, you have access to your live classes, and there's access to a lab that you can use. So that's pretty much how the interface looks like. There's also additional tabs for resources on the community forum, and of course you can to keep track, and you can add those sessions to your calendar. So a real straightforward, very very intuitive interface. Rasha, back to you.
Thank you so much, Armando, for sharing the learning environment of the UTLS AML Bootcamp. Let me just quickly share back the screen of my presentation. Yeah. So we just went through the learning environment of the UTLS AML Bootcamp. Let us know if you have any questions related to the program. We see a lot of good questions pouring into the Q&A box, which we are answering.
I think that
And
Raj.
here, learner, interestingly, the learner of previous classes have consisted of learners from world-class organizations and diverse industries like IT, software product manufacturing, pharma, healthcare, BFS, and world-class organizations like SAP, Godrej, Wells Fargo, Exxon Mobil, Target, Boeing, Siemens, Infosys, plenty of them, much more than what you see on the screen here. So, and also talking about, I think someone has asked that, like, do we get any kind of career assist service or help from Simplylearn here when they're taking up the program? Yes, you do. So, Simplylearn Career Assist Services help you with your job search. What we offer here is free access to expert webinars and career events with industry leaders. You get options to choose from real world projects across industries and create a portfolio of projects, which Armando has spoke about earlier as well. What are the projects and how exactly are these projects important? And also, we have Job Assist Services in association with Talent King, starting at the bootcamp completion and valid for 6 months. Here, the Job Assist Services by Talent Inc. include access to job portal, Resume Rabbit, which has a wide employer network to choose from, and also a resume review and rewrite service from Top Resume here, where the writer collaborates with the learner one-on-one, and they get to basically draft the resume, and basically within 5 to 7 days from the first contact. And there are revisions as well involved here, and also one-on-one interview service from top interview here. So the interview is conducted with a practitioner SME, and interview based on a resume and the specific skill set for the applicable role which basically you are applying for, or basically looking forward to pursue. And there's a continuous feedback cycle as well to improve your interview skills and also resume as well. So we have talked about the skills here. We've talked about also the career paths you can take up in AIML space in 24 in the starting of the session. And at the end of it all, you'll be getting a UTTLIS Academic Excellence Bootcamp certificate, which you can see on your screen here. This is basically by University of Texas, and the certificate here is awarded for the program UTLIS AIML Bootcamp, which you can see on your screen here, and also powered by Simplylearn. You can see that stamp there as well. And you get core and elective course certificates as well, and along with the main program certificate by UTLIS. And you get part to be a UTLIS circle membership. And also, there is an online convocation which takes place when you complete the program. Also, in this online convocation, the interesting part here is you cannot only invite your closest family or friends, you can actually invite your far relatives and your friends to attend this convocation together, and that makes it very interesting and special in its own way. Also, So we have talked about the skills here. We have talked about the career paths. We have talked about what projects will be covering this program, how exactly having a capstone project is so important. Basically, once you're done with this program as well, to build your portfolio when you're getting out there to land a job in the AI/ML space here. We have also talked about what are the tools and platforms and how exactly do they cover the tools and the platforms in this program. We have talked about how this program builds your skills step by step, and also about the UT advantage here to have on your CV, which is very much accomplished here and definitely amps up your profile. So we would love to know, are you interested in enrolling into the UT AIML Bootcamp? I'm just launching a quick poll here. You can share your interest towards enrollment by actually voting for yes here. And for folks who will be sharing response as yes for enrollment, sharing their interest towards enrollment to the AIML Bootcamp, I'll be quickly taking you through the enrollment steps of the program. And meanwhile, you folks are voting for this poll here. Please do let us know. This is a really good time if you have any questions about the program here, as we have talked about in very much detail here. Also, for the folks who have joined us live on Zoom, you can basically vote for the poll which you're seeing on Zoom right now. Would you like to enroll into the program by sharing your response as yes towards enrollment? And folks who have joined us live on YouTube chat box, I saw a lot of you who are interested in enrolling while we were discussing about the program. So I've already written how you can do that, but I'm just going to repeat it for folks on YouTube, not on Zoom, not to confuse you folks. So what you can do is right now in this live chat box, you will see a description. If you go to the more section, if you have joined from your mobile or laptop, and when you go to the description of this YouTube live, you will find on the top there is the program link, which basically when you click on it, it will take you towards the enrollment page, and you will have to just quickly fill down like few details to share your interest towards enrollment. So you can do that for folks who have joined us live on YouTube, because I saw a few of you have actually shared interest towards enrollment while we were talking about the program. And I'll be answering questions about if there are financing options available, what is the program fee, when is the upcoming cohort, how exactly the enrollment steps work, and all of that once we are done with this poll here. So I think I see most of you have responded for the poll here. But I think let's just give 10-15 seconds more, because I see few of you are still thinking about it. Awesome. Last 10 seconds, folks, for the poll here. Would you like to enroll into the UTLS AIML Bootcamp? Awesome. I see most of you have already responded for this poll here. So last 5 seconds, folks. Would you like to enroll into the UTLS AIML Bootcamp? You can share your response for enrolling as yes on this poll here. So last 5 seconds. Uh, I see few of you are also responding on the chat here as yes. Please make sure you actually go and vote for the poll here. And also, if you have any questions, I see you can actually go and ask our speaker on the Q&A box here. Armando is actively actually answering your questions whenever he's getting the time. You can go and check it out. And also, we'll be moving towards the Q&A part of the session. In case you have any questions, there's still time. Please do and go and raise your questions in the Q&A box. So last 5 seconds, folks, for the poll here. Would you like to enroll into the UTLS AIML Bootcamp? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me quickly end the poll. Thank you so much. I saw a lot of responses as yes for enrollment. That's great. Let me quickly take you through the enrollment steps of the program here. So the program fee here is of 8,000 US dollars. And I think few of you have asked if there are any monthly payments possible, or if there are any EMI financing options available. So yes, we do have that. We have financing options available for you to choose from, which the learning consultants from Simplylearn will be guiding you on that for as low as $704 per month. And also, just to let you know that we have limited seats per cohort. So we only take 25 to 30 folks per cohort in order to make sure you're getting all the attention that is required when you're taking up this program. And also, in case you need any assistance, you can always reach out to us at askus@simplylearn.net in case even after this webinar if you have any questions about the program. Also, let's talk about the upcoming schedule. So, a schedule is going to be announced pretty soon. For that, basically, the learning consultants from Simplylearn will be taking you three simple, easy steps to follow, which I'll just give you an overview of. So you will have an idea what are the enrollment steps you need to follow once they get in touch with you. So the step one here is you need to submit an application to us at askus@simplylearn.net, and based on that, your application will be going for review based on the eligibility and the criteria prerequisites I've shared earlier. And based on that, you'll be getting admissions offer from learning consultants from Simplylearn to start with the upcoming next cohort, which you would like to take up. So that is all about the enrollment and the program schedule here. So moving on to the Q&A part of the session. So we do have like few more minutes left, and Armando here is actively answering your questions in the Q&A box. Please do go and check it out. The responses there. If you have any follow-up questions also, you can let us know. Armando, I see a lot of questions you have already answered. We do have few minutes. Maybe we can take a few questions which you feel like, okay, these are very important questions and definitely needs to be answered. So I'm just browsing through the questions because you've gotten plenty of questions here.
Yeah, so there's one question that I would like to address, because this is a very common question that we get, not only in this webinar, but also in my classes, in consulting. The question sometimes is, okay, I am non-IT related. I have no knowledge about stats, mathematics. I covered them like 25 years ago in college or in high school. I know nothing about programming, and I want to make the transition. Is it possible? And the short answer is yes. I mean, really, you don't need to have a PhD. You don't need to have a master's. You don't even have to have a bachelor's degree to make a transition into data science and artificial intelligence. Really, you just need to be curious about it. You just need to take a dive. There's so many resources. And what I'm saying, and Raja will not like what I'll say, but even if it's not this program, look for other resources. The journey is truly exciting. You will have the ability to see what no one else can see. So if you don't enroll in this program, then go to additional resources, look for books, look for videos in YouTube. There's so much out there, and the transition is not hard. You just need to understand the intuition behind math and statistics, and know programming, but programming by no means as being a software developer. So as a software developer, you will need to know a lot more. But as a data scientist, you just need to know how to make large computations with code, with your data. So again, don't be afraid. What I would say is just take a dive. I made a transition from business into artificial intelligence data science. I was passionate about data. So my only request for you is experiment. Give it a try. Even if you don't get full into data science or machine learning, just give it a try. Get into Kaggle to figure out the different projects that there are in Kaggle, how people are solving them, and just experiment. Play with it. Have fun with it. Nothing happens if you run the program and you mess up with your data. Well, you'll upload the data again. So give it a try. Experiment. Fail safe. Fail fast. Learn from your errors. And as you continue to add more stuff, it will be super exciting. I have not heard about one of the people, whether on my classes that I have mentored, that has been disappointed in trying to make the transition, making a transition. At least you will learn something new, and you will increase your capabilities, and you will have a different perspective when you go back to your work. You will see things a different way, whether you make a full transition or not. So again, my only advice is take a dive, have fun, play with it, discuss, because this is a very exciting journey, and it's the bedrock of what we will continue to see in the future. So not today, but you will have a head start in what's going to happen in years to come. So, and I think that addresses the question, what's the best career path? I couldn't tell. It depends. If you already have programming knowledge, maybe you get a little bit more in stats. If you don't have programming knowledge, maybe you get into Python. But the only thing I can tell you is learn Python basics, learn the intuition behind statistics and mathematics, and then go in platforms like Kaggle. Kaggle has tons of projects, and you can take a look at what data scientists are doing. Their competitions. You can get into LinkedIn and look at what are the requirements for some of the jobs, and that can give you a very good sense on what you can learn, and most important, what you can do. Okay. So I think that kind of covers most of the questions, Raja.
Agree to that. Thank you so much. That sounds pretty interesting. Thank you for your response. Also, folks, we have answered almost address all of your queries here. It's still, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us for more assistance at ask us@simplylearn.net. I've shared that email ID on the chat here. And also, we do a lot of these live master classes almost every week. So if you would want to join, you can register for these master classes through this link I've shared for the resources section here. So we are towards the end of the session here. I would like to thank Armando here for a very amazing session and addressing actively, like, I don't know how did you manage to answer all of these queries throughout the session, but you actually did. And thank you so much for that. Thank you for an amazing session and overview of this utility and bootcamp. We did saw a lot of interest coming towards enrollment here. So I think you'll be seeing a lot of them in the upcoming cohorts of this program, which will be announced soon. So would you like to say something to the audience quickly before we end the session?
No, just take that experiment. You'll have a lot of fun, and do that. Is have fun with it. The more fun you have with it, the more you'll enjoy it. Okay. So thank you very much for joining, Raja. Thank you very much for hosting me, and I really hope to see you whether in this program or maybe being rock stars in data science in the near future. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Now, just to address for folks who have actually won the webinar certificate for attending the webinar and also the recording link. So you'll be getting the recording link post webinar over your email. You can look out for that email. And also, basically for the webinar certificate, now that you are here, you will get a post webinar survey pop up on Zoom once I end the session right now. In that, you will ask you to write down your full name, which you would want to see on the webinar certificate. So please do that in order to get the webinar certificate. Thank you so much. Would love to know how was the session for you on the chat here and also on the post webinar survey. If you have any feedback for us on how to make it better and more value adding for you folks, yeah, please do let us know. We would love to work on that. So thank you so much, folks. You have been an amazing audience. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. We'll be ending the session now.